Hi everyone, I'm Liz Peterson and welcome back to another one of my Pipedrive training videos. This is part 2 of my Pipedrive setup guide. In part 1, we covered everything you need to know to get started using Pipedrive. This included setting up your pipeline stages, creating custom detail fields, activity types, and lost reasons, and of course, how to start using Pipedrive. So, if you're just getting started, be sure to watch that video first. You can find it linked below. In this video, we're going to cover loads of settings and features that will help you and your team work in Pipedrive much more efficiently. The first section is going to cover additional settings that Pipedrive admins can configure for all users in your Pipedrive account. We'll cover Pipedrive's leads inbox and whether or not you need to use it, how to organize your detail fields into custom field groups, and customizing your add deal window. The second section will cover individual user setup. These are settings and features that each user needs to configure within their own account. In this section, we'll cover interface preferences and how we can streamline your sidebar sections, configuring your activities view, and one of my absolute favorite features in Pipedrive, how to use Pipedrive's email sync and email tracking feature. Before we dive in, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a certified Pipedrive partner as well as a Zapier expert, and I've been working with Pipedrive since 2017. I absolutely love Pipedrive because it's intuitive and also has loads of features you can add on over time to build it into a really robust sales tool. But those features have also made Pipedrive seem more complicated than it is, especially for new users. So I'm really glad that you're here. Everything I covered today and in the part 1 video are topics I cover in a Pipedrive working session. So if you don't have time to pick through these videos and want me to walk you through all of these setup steps, I highly encourage you to book a Pipedrive working session. You can do that today using the link in the comment section, and I've also added it as a pinned comment below. Also, as you're watching today, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I really do love hearing from you. And if you're lucky, you may just get the answer to your question in the form of a new YouTube video. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. So with that, let's dive in. In the last training, we went over how to set up custom detail fields in this section here. Now, in this video, I want to show you how you can organize these using custom field groups. So I'm going to click the 3 dots here and then drag and drop fields. And then here, there's this option to add a field group. And I'm going to add a few different field groups that I can ultimately put these detail fields into. So I have these 3 field groups here, and I'm going to put the different categories of fields into each of them just by dragging and dropping. So all of the quote appointment details I'm going to put into this section here. Once in this section, you can then also drag and drop again to rearrange them. And then I'm going to collapse that section to make my view a little bit easier here. I'm going to also put this project address up at the top. I want that above these sections. And then I'll put my source fields into the source detail field section here. And then I'm going to drag and drop the sections into a different order as well. So I'm keeping everything that's most important and most frequently needed to be accessed up at the top here. This summary section, fields from this section can also be moved into other field groups. So this is just the default setting, and I'm going to make some updates here. I'm putting sequence enrollment as well as organization into this section called Keeps Collapsed because this is a B2C company, so they're never using organizations, so they don't need that field clunking up the summary view. And then sequence enrollment is a pretty advanced feature, so nothing I want the team to be looking at as they're getting started in Pipedrive. In the last video, we also made labels into basically project detail fields because they identify whether the project is for window cleaning, gutter cleaning, or both. So I'm going to also put labels into the quote appointment details section field. So I'm going to go ahead and save these changes. And now you see this left-hand side has updated. The summary section is a bit smaller. And in fact, I can also move projects into the keep collapse section. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then these sections are now really nicely organized and can be collapsed when they're not needed so that your view is a lot smaller and cleaner for all of your users. The next customization I want you to make is your add deal window. So I'm going to go back out to my deals here and I'm going to just click this plus deal to show you what this window looks like now. So these are all of the fields that are visible when someone goes to manually create a deal in your Pipedrive account. And many of these fields we don't need. For example, source channel ID and source channel, those are system-based fields that no one's ever going to complete in this add deal window. Additionally, visible to is a visibility setting, which is again fairly advanced and not something I want individual users to be making edits on a particular deal. So also something I want to hide. And then the source field, if they select referral, I want them to have that referral write-in available to fill out so they can say which previous customer of ours actually made this referral. So to make those edits, I'm going to go to the back end company settings and I'm going to click on data fields. So this shows me all of my data fields in a list view for deals, for people, for organizations. All of the fields I'm updating are deal fields. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to find my expected close date. This is one that I don't need users to fill out when they are adding a new deal. So I'm going to click these three dots, click edit. And then this option, lead deal add view, I'm going to deselect that option, which will remove it from my add deal form. I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to do the same for those other fields that I had mentioned. So the source channel and source channel ID. As well as visible to. And then I want to add the referrer if referred. So I'm going to select that box and then click save. While I'm here, I notice that referrer is above source, but source is always going to be filled out and referrer may sometimes. So I want to switch those. I'm going to click these three dots and then reorder. I'm taken to this same reorder window and then I can drag and drop and save that change. And now when I go back to add a deal, going like this, or again, that green button. So it looks like I need to do a little refresh. This is what our form looked like. If I refresh the page here, and now I go to add a deal, you see this add deal window has been updated. It's now much shorter and simpler, pinpointed with the exact details that need to be added when a deal is added to Pipedrive. Now let's talk about the leads inbox. In most cases, I do not recommend you use the leads inbox because it's simply one more place that salespeople need to go to find work without adding a whole ton of value. But there are some exceptions. If you're doing cold calling or importing a lot of lead lists into Pipedrive, that may be a reason you want to use the leads inbox. Also, if you have a dedicated salesperson or SDR that is only working out of the leads inbox, that may be a reason why you want to use it, as it can be their dedicated place to go to find their work specifically. But if neither of those cases apply to your business, plan not to use the leads inbox. And in a bit, I'll show you how you can hide that icon from your view entirely. But if you are using the leads inbox, let me give you a quick rundown. Within a lead, you can do some, but not all of the same things that you can do within a deal. So I'm going to open up this lead here, and you can see there's detail fields on the left-hand side, just like in a deal. And then on the right-hand side, in the kind of actions you can take, instead of being able to create documents and make phone calls, you can create notes, activities, use the email feature, and then add files. The other key difference between a lead and a deal, where a deal can be marked as lost or won, a lead can either be archived or converted to a deal. So that's these buttons down here. So if I archive this lead, then it's going to drop out of this main view, which is all of my active leads, but I can still find it in my archived leads, and then I could also search and I would be able to find it as well. So leads look like that bullseye. If I convert it to a deal, that's going to move it into my deals pipeline. So again, the real reason to use the leads inbox is only if you are importing a bunch of leads into Pipedrive and you don't want hundreds of them sitting in the first stage of your pipeline, or if you have a dedicated person that is managing all of your inbound leads. Those are a couple of reasons where the leads inbox does make sense. And in those cases, when your salesperson is ready to convert a lead into a deal, they will go ahead and open up the lead and then click the button Convert to Deal. That's going to open the Add Deal window. They can add any additional details if they would like, and then they will click Save. And that's going to throw that deal into the pipeline, so I will be able to see it now here at the bottom of the scheduling appointment list. The next features I'm going to cover are individual user settings. So every user in your Pipedrive account needs to do these configurations for themselves. So you should follow along with the rest of the video to make these updates within your account, but you should also share this video with everyone else on your team. To share this video right at this timestamp, click share below, check the box next to start at, and copy and paste the link to your team. The first thing we're going to do is reduce the number of icons you have on your left-hand sidebar. To do this, you'll click on your icon in the top right, followed by Personal Preferences, and then in this gray bar on the left-hand side, you'll click Interface Preferences. For the keyboard shortcuts, I recommend turning these off unless you love shortcuts. The shortcuts in Pipedrive are super easy by default, and so when they are on, more often than not, people accidentally use a shortcut and get taken to a new page and don't realize why. So unless you love shortcuts, turn the shortcuts off. Your default landing page, I recommend you have it set to either deals or activities. I'm going to set it to deals. That's most commonly what people like, but my personal preference is activities, and I have lots of other videos about why, but I'm going to set it to deals. Then this left-hand sidebar. Here we're going to just drag and drop these icons over to the right-hand side and then reorder the ones that we keep. So we want deals at the top, followed by activities and contacts. Leads, drag and drop, as well as insights. And then sales inbox, let's put above contacts. So you want just these 4 icons on the left-hand sidebar. So we're going to click Save, and you'll see that this bar is going to update as soon as I do that. Under these 3 dots, I still have access to all of the features that I may want to use over time, but day in and day out, I'm only seeing the deals, activities, my sales inbox, and then also contacts to reduce the amount of icons I'm looking at day in and day out. Now we're going to do a similar update within the deals themselves. So I'm going to click on deals, and then I'm going to go into any deal in the pipeline. So this white left-hand sidebar is comprised of a bunch of different sections. All of these bolded headers that can be collapsed are all of those different sections. But most users only use a few of them, and so the rest of them just make this scroll bar really, really, really long. So to simplify this, you're going to click the 3 dots next to Summary and then click Manage Sidebar Sections. And then you're going to turn off a number of these sections. So I've left on details, person, participants, and products. If you are a B2B company, you will want to leave organizations on as well. So I'm going to click done. And now this sidebar has updated. So we always have the please fill section at the top. We always have the summary section. Then we have details, person, participants, and products. A much smaller section to have to scroll through. And those changes you've now made for all deals within your account. So if I go to another deal here, I'm going to see the same sections, or I should see the same sections. Let me refresh and make sure that that took. There we go. So summary, details, person, participants, and products. So you are making that change for all deals within your Pipedrive account. The next customization I want you to make is to your activities view. So this is the default activities view you'll have in your account. But you can customize the columns of data that you are seeing here so that they are exactly what you want to see about the tasks or activities that you have to do in a given day. To make that update, you're going to click this tiny gear icon on the right-hand side. And first, you'll just unselect any fields that you don't want to see. And I'm going to remove a number of these. Now below, you can use any detail field in Pipedrive. You can expose it in this activities view. So you can scroll through and look at all of the options available, but I'm going to just recommend a couple to add. We're going to add the stage, and then we'll also add the value. Now I'm going to click save, and this is going to update. So you see now here I have a different set of detail fields, and that scroll bar is kind of gone away because now everything fits in one view. But there's another customization you can make. You can reorder these columns, and these changes are going to save and be here every time you come back to your activities view. I like to have this view. I'm going to drag deals over to the left, as well as due date, stage, and I'll put the value here in the middle as well. If you want any columns to be larger or smaller, you can also hover and drag and drop to make the section smaller if you want to be able to fit more into your view. I also recommend that you look at only activities assigned to you. Right now I'm looking at activities assigned to all users in Pipedrive, but I just need to know what work is mine. So I'm going to select myself here. Then from this view, you can sort any column A to Z or Z to A by clicking the column header. So I like to view all of my activities that are to do based on the due date so that I can run through them in chronological order. We'll go more into using this view in a few minutes, but up next, I want to talk to you about Pipedrive's email sync feature. To sync your email, you're going to click Sales Inbox and then Get Started, and you will follow the prompts, giving Pipedrive all the access that it needs to link your account. For now, we're just setting up a personal account, so select that. And then you have a few more questions to answer before starting your sync. This first one, default email visibility, set this to shared. What that means is if you have an email that is linked to a contact or a deal in Pipedrive, by default, other users at your company will be able to see that email. What it does not mean is that other Pipedrive users can see your email inbox. So as long as an email is not connected to something in Pipedrive, it is still private and only visible when you log into your Pipedrive account or when you are logged into your email server. And then you're going to click Start Sync. So that's going to be syncing in the background. And now I want to tell you how this feature works. You will see all of your email conversations linked here in the sales inbox, just as you do in your email client. But most people don't like working out of this view, and that's totally fine. You can continue to send emails from Gmail or Outlook, and they're going to continue to sync here according to the settings you have configured in your email sync feature. So while we're here, I want you to check your settings. On this account settings page, you want all of these settings to be as they are now. But you see my default email visibility, it's private. I actually want it shared. That's what I put in when I was configuring it, but for whatever reason, it didn't take. So I want to make sure that all of my emails are shared by default. Then under general settings here, you want these settings to be as they are on this page. And the key one is this automatic linking. What this feature does is it will automatically try to find the correct person and deal associated with a given email, even if you are not emailing out of Pipedrive. So you send an email from Gmail or Outlook or another email client, Pipedrive is going to automatically try to find the right place to put it in Pipedrive and link it there under the history so you and other Pipedrive users can easily reference it if and when needed. But while I don't need you to be emailing out of the sales inbox tab and to be using this as your inbox, I do want you sending emails from Pipedrive. So let me show you how you can do that from within a deal. So if I go to deals here, and then I click into any deal, I can then click on emails here and I see a little composer window pop up. Now, there's a couple of things I love about email in Pipedrive. The first is email templates, and I'm going to show you how to set those up in a moment. The other is email link click, this one, and open tracking. When these icons are blue, they are on. And so when you send an email and these icons are on, you have email open and link click notifications. So you will see in Pipedrive if your email has been opened or if links have been clicked, and you'll also get a daily digest email telling you what emails have been opened and which emails have had links clicked in them. I especially love this for a long sales cycle because if someone opens your quote email or your proposal 1 month or 2 months or 3 months down the line, you can get a notification saying, hey, this email was opened, and you'll be able to then reach out to that person right at that time when they are thinking about your bid. Now, there are two ways to create email templates. One is if you write an email and you're like, actually, this is one that I find myself writing again and again and again. Before you send it, you can save it as a template. So I'm going to go ahead and put some content in here and show you how to do that. Here I have an email I send all of the time. I send a bid, and the next day I send an email to make sure that the customer received it. Before I send this email that I've custom written, I'm going to click Choose Template, and then I'm going to select Save Draft as a Template. This little window is going to pop up. I can give my template a name, and I recommend doing as standard of naming as you can. So I like to number all of my emails, and I usually do it roughly in the stage that deal will be in based on the email that I'm sending out. So this is the third stage of my pipeline, and this is usually the first email that I send, and then I'm going to add bid follow up, or actually I'll change that to quote since that's what I'm calling it here. Then I have the option to either make this a shared template with my whole company, that's changing the visibility to shared, or keep it private and it's only an email that I will see in my templates personally in my Pipedrive account. Then you can use fields. So I don't want it to say Nancy every single time that I pull this template up. I want it to actually use the first person name of whoever I'm emailing. So I'm going to insert a field, and it's going to be the first name of the person connected to the deal. Then I like to always just clear the formatting and re-add formatting, because if you're pasting a lot of content into a template, for example, it can create formatting issues that aren't visible in this view. So I'm going to select all, remove all styling, and then make it medium and sans serif. That's what I like best. Now I'm going to click Save. So now I can send this email off, but for sake of demo here, I'm going to send it to myself rather than the demo email there. So I'm going to click Send. And then what we'll see is that email is going to show up in the history down here as soon as it hits the outbox. So here, now that email is down here below, I can always reply to it if I need to. And you see, I've got this little eyeball icon. So as soon as that email is opened, this is going to turn a dark blue and it's going to give me a timestamp of when that email was opened. And if it's opened again and again and again, I will see a list of time-stamped opens here. I'll get real-time notifications about that as well. And now if I come up here and I go to email, and I go to choose a template, I now have this 3.1 quote follow-up, and I could select it from the list. So adding templates over time as you write them in Pipedrive is definitely one way to do it. But another way is also to just come in and add a bunch of templates all at once. So if you go to any composer window, click choose templates and then manage templates, here you can add a new template. So maybe I want a 3.2 quote follow-up. And here I can follow up creating the subject and the body of that email. And then here, maybe I don't want my signature. Maybe I actually want the deal owner name to auto-populate, especially if this is one I'm going to share with the whole company. So I'm going to make this one shared, and I'm going to click Save. So that's how you can create templates either for yourself or for all users. Now I want to go through a few best practices for working in Pipedrive. Start every day by looking at your activities list view. Again, you want to make sure that you are just looking at activities that are assigned to you. And I like to look at all activities that are to do, sorted by due date, with the earliest due date being at the top. Then, to work through this list of activities really quickly, if you click the deal link here, it's going to pop open the deals view. You're going to see your activity. You can take whatever action is necessary, make a phone call or send an email, and then mark that activity as done, either clicking the circle here or the circle over here. So I'm going to click the circle here. Next best practice, make sure you always schedule a next activity. Sure, I followed up the quote, I sent them an email, or I left them a voicemail, but what if they don't respond to that? Well, then I want to reach out in another week. So I'm going to do another quote follow-up, due in a week, assigned to me, and if I wanted to add any notes about what I want to do in that follow-up, I'm welcome to. I'm going to click Save. And now I have a next planned activity here, and you can see that popped into my list view back here. Then from here, I can just click on the next deal in my list and really quickly work through any tasks that I need to do that are overdue or that are scheduled to be due today. Once you've completed those activities, then go to the pipeline view. In the pipeline view, I also recommend you apply a filter so you are only looking at deals where you are the owner. So now instead of looking at 25 deals when I'm looking at all open deals in my pipeline, I'm just looking at the 15 deals that are assigned to me, the ones I need to be working to close. After you've worked through your activity list, in this view, you should only be seeing gray circles and maybe some yellow triangles. If you see any yellow triangles, those are deals that do not have a next planned activity. So those are ones where you want to schedule an activity so that you don't forget about that opportunity and you make sure to follow up at the right time. So I'm going to click here and schedule an activity for this deal that's missing one. And I'm going to do that tomorrow. The other thing you want to do in this view is look for any deals that are rotting. So deals that are rotting are going to be this pink color. So this has been rotting for less than a day, and this one as well. And what that means is no action has happened on the deal within a preset time that was set up when this pipeline was created. So we want to be following up on revisions that are requested really quickly. So the rot happens really quickly. So if there are any deals that are rotting, you want to make sure to take a peek at those and make sure that whatever needs to happen on that deal is happening. And one thing that I love to do to push deals along is an at mention function. So here in the notes, if I use the at symbol, it's going to give me a list of all other users in my Pipedrive account. So Rachel's actually the one that needs to approve the revisions so that I can keep working on this deal. So I'm going to say at Rachel, And when I click save here, that's going to send an email to Rachel with all the information about this deal. And when she clicks the link in that email, she's going to be taken exactly to this comment here, and she can reply, click save, and that's going to send me an email with whatever information she put about that conversation. So it's a really awesome way to collaborate when you are dependent on other users in your account for the various actions you may need to take to close a deal. Then, whenever you get a sales email, make sure that you do your follow-up through Pipedrive. So let's say I got an email from Margaret. I can go and click on her deal. And then here, I would see that email. This is hypothetical. And I could just click the link to reply to that email right from Pipedrive so that I have my link, click, and email open tracking on that reply. Let me pull up that Nancy example here. So here I could click reply and I'm taken to my composer window and I can reply just freeform, or I can also use one of my templates and send that off again with those link, click, and open trackings on. If you have a quote appointment, you can update the deal detail fields right while you are out at that appointment. So I can say the number of stories that this house is. I can count up the number of windows. And then I can say that I did my quote appointment. Then when I get back to the office, I can create the quote, update the deal value with that quote value, and then move the deal into the quote sent stage and mark this final activity as done, which will then say, hey, make sure you schedule your next activity. And I would go ahead and do that quote follow-up scheduled for tomorrow to make sure that it has been received. Today we covered a lot of little changes you can make in your Pipedrive account that are going to make the tool way easier to use day in and day out. Now all you need to do is use it. As a reminder, if you liked today's video, please be sure to subscribe below and also give us a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, please do leave a comment below. I really do love hearing from you. And if you're lucky, your question may just get picked as our next YouTube video topic. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.